Hi, I'm Chuck Gibson. This is Loveland Beacon Talks with a Sunday sports special updating from Ashtabula, Ohio, where our Loveland Little League 13U All-Stars continue on their journey trying to win a state championship for Loveland Little League Baseball. Special guest coming right up is Coach Scott Carr, and he's going to have a couple of his assistant coaches join us. So let's go real quick right now to Coach Scott Carr. So welcome once again, Coach Scott Carr from the Loveland Little League 13U All-Stars. Update from Sunday. So, and I know you got a couple of guys along with you, a couple of your assistant coaches. So who do we have with us today, Scott?
Yeah, Chuck, well, thanks again for having me on, having these conversations. This means we've got a pretty fun story to share with you coming out of Ashtabula. I'm going to share today's update with you, but alongside I have assistant coaches Chris Menninger and Mike Wagner with me as well.
Outstanding. So welcome, Chris. Welcome, Mike. And thank you for joining us. We're calling this Loveland Beacon Talks Sports Special with our Loveland Little League 13U All-Stars. So why don't you, Coach Carr, give us a quick recap. And, you know, I know there's some exciting information about what happened that led to you facing off against Ironton today. So what happened to get that whole thing, to set you up to play against Ironton?
Yeah, so Chuck, when we spoke yesterday, I had a feeling Ironton was going to be our opponent, and that is not minimizing any of the other teams that are in this tournament. We have seen some pretty incredible baseball being played, and that held true this morning. When we arrived at the park, we were following along on Game Changer, and the updates were telling us that Ashtabula Little League was beating Ironton, which we were not expecting, but again, that's why we play the game. Our team got there to see the seventh inning, where Ironton was the visiting team, and they scored 2 runs in the top of the seventh inning, and then their starting pitcher, who was just lights out today from Ironton, was able to hold Ashtabula hitless. I think he had a 1-2-3 inning in the bottom of the seventh for Ironton to advance to play us in the winner's bracket at 2 o'clock this afternoon, which, again, we were thinking that was going to be our opponent, but boy, it certainly didn't shape up the way we thought was going to happen. And it was great to take the field then at 2 o'clock against the Tigers from Ironton.
Wow. You know, that had to be huge for Ironton as well to come back in the seventh. But then that's a tough that's a tough challenge. They got to come back in the seventh to get the win, and then face off against you at 2 p.m. with maybe a short turnaround for them. So tell me, so what happened with you and Ironton today?
It started out, so Charlie Rigby, who was one of our stars yesterday at the plate with a big double, as BC and Pokey shared with you, he had the ball today on the mound, and I'm 0 for 2 in the coin toss, but I guess if I lose the coin toss, that's a good omen for the team. Ironton did select to be the home team coming off the coin toss. We were visitors. So we went out, and PJ Katopis is our leadoff hitter, facing a really crafty left-hander out of Ironton. Had our guys a little off balance, but it dropped third strike with the first bat. And I say this, I say it sincerely, PJ might be the fastest 13-year-old in Southwest Ohio. He was at first base before the catcher even picked up that drop ball, so we had a runner on early. We were able to get him around to third base. Had another hit from Braden Hoobie, and then Charlie Rigby in the 4-hole hit a hard line drive to left field to get our first 2 runs across. And as the visiting team against a team that just came off an emotional game, we needed that. The kids needed that. The fans needed that. And I can tell you, as I'm sitting here next to my assistant coaches, we needed that as well as the coaching staff to get that early lead, to have our kids settle down when we took the field in the bottom half of that inning. We scored 1 more run in the third to make it 3-0. So Charlie took the bump with a 3-0 lead. And the first 3 hitters from Ironton, they came in pretty hot from their game before. They hit the ball as hard as I've seen a ball hit all tournament, but they hit it right to our outfielders. Our guys were in the right spot. Charlie at that point had only thrown 9 pitches through 1, and from there the bats just continued to chip away, and we just continued to be aggressive on the base paths and score more runs. So It was, Ironton came in with some emotions, and we had to make a statement early in that game to set the tone for our kids by scoring runs early in the game.
Well, you got to love the atom balls when the other team is hitting them at you.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Yeah, well, we shared before we started talking for the show. I told you, the team I play on played today, and we had a whole bunch of atom balls, but they were from our bats, so didn't work out for us. But so again, going back real quick, Coach Carr, 2 in the first, 1 in the third. You're off to a 3-0 lead. So what's the final tally for the day? Because we're kind of, again, we're doing what we did the other day. We're burying the lead. So the Loveland Little League 13U All-Stars came away winners against Ironton. Final score today
was 15-3 out of Ashtabula. 15 runs for the good guys from Loveland.
I love that, for the good guys. And you said you were chipping away. So by the end of the third, 3-0. So how about? Was the game like ever in jeopardy? You said Charlie Rigby was out there on the bump. Ironton was hitting them at you, but did they, after a 3-0 lead, did they come back and make it tight for a bit, or did you guys just kind of keep tallying and it was never in doubt?
Yeah, Chuck. So in that first inning, we were able to score 3 runs, which was great. Second inning, we scored 4.
Okay.
Third inning, we scored 3 more. So we've got a 10-0 lead going to the bottom of the third, and we made the decision based on Little League pitch counts that if a pitcher throws 20 or less pitches, they can pitch the very next day. We are, as I shared with you before, we are very fortunate to have a very deep pitching staff. We have 8 guys that we have zero hesitation of handing the ball to them at any given moment in time in the game. But the way Charlie was throwing, we made the decision that we were going to pull him out and save him possibly for tomorrow, or there's a reason we play the games and they're 13. If we happen to get into an if game on Tuesday, he would be available for us. So with that 10-0 lead, Charlie pitched 2 1/3. He struck out 2. And then we brought in Coach Wagner's son, Grayson, who came in and pitched 2 innings for us and did a really nice job to keep things settled for us. I think, as you heard yesterday from BC and Pokey, the term they said with pitchers is they like when things are in control. And we, at that point, with that lead, 10-0, we scored another one at the top of the fourth to make it 11. Ironton did chip away and get 3. We weren't real clean on defense at that point. It happens. We regrouped, scored 4 more in the top of the fifth. And at that point, you're in a run rule situation. We brought Menninger in to close the game out for us to end it after 5 innings with a 15-3 win.
Outstanding. So, Coach Menninger and Coach Wagner, thank you for your patience, sitting alongside, listening to the recap from Coach Carr. But I want to touch base with you real quick, Chris, because of that background that you had played for Ironton. You played Ironton Little League. And tell me a little bit about your story from your days at Ironton and what it meant to be facing off against them as a coach with Loveland now.
Yes, first of all, thank you for having me on here. It was a pretty special day. As Scott mentioned, I grew up playing in the Ironton Little League. I still have many family and friends back there. My wife is from Ironton also. We had a lot of success back in our playing days. We actually won 3 state championships back in the day.
Wow.
As 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds, and 15-year-olds. And so facing off today against a lot of former classmates and teammates as parents on this team, it was pretty special, Chuck. It really was. Got to catch up with a lot of former friends, and it's tough. It's kind of like playing against your older brother, or younger brother, however you want to look at it.
Well, it's like family for sure, right?
It really is. I mean, you don't want either team to lose. Obviously, it's nice coming away with a victory, but it's tough. Yeah, it's like playing against your brother.
Well, and again, you know what? Not just coming away with a victory, but holy smokes, you run ruled them after 5.
We did. So our kids came out very focused today. They knew they were going to be in a tough situation. We know the Ironton pedigree, which is really good Little League baseball over the years. We actually took a trip as a team to Ironton 2 years ago, and we faced off against those guys in a couple of games. So we knew what we were up against. So they were really strong back then. They're still very good today. So it's good. So our kids, not only us as coaches, have formed friendships with the parents and the coaches, but the kids, they've actually formed a lot of friendships as well amongst the Loveland kids and the Ironton kids. So it's pretty special playing against those guys today.
Isn't that a great piece of baseball, though? You can tell for you, like you said, this was like family. You're seeing guys who now are parents of the opponent's children, their children are the opponents of your children, and just, that's baseball. It's like family, even when you're opposing one another. That makes it a pretty special day and it's a pretty special game, I believe.
It really is, Chuck, and not only that, too, to add kind of to the story a little bit, the Ironton team is literally staying about 30 yards away from our hotel. They are right next door to us, so we hang out with them in the evenings, just catching up, getting to know folks, and they picked that hotel knowing that we were staying here right next to them. So again, to your point, it's much bigger than baseball. It's about friendships and families and just hanging out, having a good time.
Amen. Well, let me toss something to you here, Chris. I didn't ask Coach Carr for this, and I did that on purpose. But who do you see from your team today? Who are the guys? Obviously, Charlie Rigby had a great start. Grayson with a couple of innings on the bump. But how about you guys put up 15 runs? So tell me a little bit about who you saw, producing at the plate for the Loveland 13U All-Stars today. What stands out for you?
Chuck, honestly, it's hard to single out any one or two individuals. It was top to bottom. We had kids hitting the ball from 1 through 12 today. It was a terrific team effort. I'm just looking here at the box score in front of me now. There's hits all over the board. So, the kids were well prepared. Again, they knew what they were up against Ironton. You gotta, lace up your shoes, buckle your chin straps, whatever you want to call it when you're playing these guys. They're hard-nosed, they're competitors. Our kids responded, and we're super proud of them.
Wow, that's terrific. I love hearing that. When it's I guess in a way, Coach Carr did say that because he did call it a total team effort. So it sounds like you saw it through the same eyes. And,
it really was.
Well, listen, Chris, it's my pleasure having you on. Thank you for joining us. And Mike Wagner, I know Coach Carr told me not only are you an assistant with this team, but you're carrying the mantle of president for the Loveland Youth Baseball Association. And by the way, congratulations on Grayson's good couple of innings today. That had to feel good for you as well.
Yeah, it was pretty cool to watch, and like both of the other coaches said, this team is special, and being able to keep this group of Loveland kids together with all of the tumultuousness of youth baseball, especially in Southwest Ohio, but in a lot of metropolitan areas, it's been fantastic. And being a Loveland guy, I've lived there for. You told me you weren't going to ask me my age earlier, but it's 40 plus years. Today was awesome, and I'm looking forward to tomorrow.
Outstanding. Well, and then the other side, put on that president's mantle for a bit here, because again, assistant coach, but also, as president of the Loveland Youth Baseball Association, you just got to be thrilled to see this team coming out of Loveland and having the success that it's having. And what do you feel like that'll mean to the rest of the organization? Does that impact, or what do you say?
So, wearing multiple hats, you're a dad, you're a coach, and LYBO president, you got a lot of different perspectives in what you're looking at. And I mentioned earlier the challenges that, particularly in Southwest Ohio, but in most metropolitan areas, you have with different travel ball teams, and there's 8 million different options that you can go play for whatever team you want to. And being able to do what we're doing this weekend, I think, is going to help moving forward with LYBO, showing that you guys don't have to run all over the place, paying all kinds of money to play for whatever the national level team or whatever. You can have some some pretty special things happen with your kids playing with their buddies. You know, most of the parents that are on our team hang out outside of just baseball season. We have our baseball family, but they hang out throughout the year. We're all neighbors, and it's been really cool to watch for this specific team, and hopefully we can use this experience to matriculate down to some of the younger ages and keep it going.
It sounds terrific, and you guys just, I'll tell you as the coaches, Mike and Chris, and you too, Scott, I'm going to tell you the same thing you're telling the players and the same thing I repeated to your players yesterday. Hey, just keep having fun.
Chuck, that is, on our team we have a core four, we call it, that we have instilled in them since they were 8 years old. You know, one is we need to listen, and that really held true, especially when they were 8, when we were herding cats more than we were baseball players. But respect is paramount on our team. It's respect for each other, respect for our opponents, respect for the umpires. The expectation is you play hard, and then in capital letters at the end is have fun. And today on our clipboard in the dugout, I underlined it 4 times. Have fun. You're playing with your friends. You're having an experience that will last a lifetime. I keep thanking them because the memories that they are creating for me, my bucket is overflowing with joy from these experiences. I can't only imagine what it's going to mean to them when they get old like us 3 coaches sitting around the table talking to you right now. It's been incredibly special, and I'll repeat what you said. We're going to keep having fun. I can promise you that.
Perfect. Okay, you old guys. Thank you all 3 of you for joining us on Loveland Beacon Talks, the sports special. And to wrap up this update, so a 15-3 5-inning run rule win today over Ironton sets you up to play Monday. This is Sunday. Monday in the championship round, correct?
That is correct. The championship game will be at 2 o'clock. We will play the winner of, it's going to be a rematch from earlier this morning. Ashtabula Little League will be playing Ironton Little League. The winner of that game will face us in the championship at 2. If we are fortunate enough to keep playing the baseball that we're playing, we will walk away as state champions. If something happens that we aren't expecting, we'll have an if game on Tuesday, winner take all.
And that would be obviously because it's a double elimination. So if if like you said something happens and you got to play Tuesday, that would be the absolute championship game. But as it stands now, Monday at 2 o'clock, the Loveland Little League 13U All-Stars are going to take on either Ashtabula or Ironton, the winner of that game, for ultimately possibly the championship, the state championship.
That is correct, Chuck.
All right. Well, you know what? Again, guys, thank you so much for joining me on Loveland Beacon Talk Sports Special. And I will say it again, 2 things. Have fun and good luck tomorrow. And we will. I look forward to talking to you after that next win.
Chuck, we can't thank you enough for your support and covering these guys. It's meant a lot, not only to the parents but to the kids. Knowing that you are telling their story and it's being read and it's being heard by their friends and their neighbors back in Loveland, it means a tremendous amount to us. So thank you for your support and your coverage of this team. And we will have some fun and we'll talk tomorrow.
All right, sounds great. I know the community's behind you. So Coach Carr, Coach Menninger, and Coach Wagner, thank you so much again. That's who we were talking to here. And so thanks again, guys. Good luck tomorrow.
Thanks, Chuck. Thank you, Chuck.
You bet.